All right, guys, how are you? So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. And again, this topic is a part of my NRI Techie series, Success Formula for NRI Techie series. And I'm going to be talking about L1 visa. Again, this is one of the master concepts of fact out there. It's not the fact and the related concepts, but it's really not. I'm going to be explaining. I'm not going to be saying, do this or do that. It's just a simple fact. I'm going to basically explain what L1 visa is and various aspects of it. And then it will help you evaluate what are you getting into. Okay. So L1 visa is of two types, L1A and L1B. So you Google all this, it's all easy. But I'm going to tell you how it will come and hit you. Right? See, I'm all about telling you those points which basically hit you, but nobody tells you about. You find out these things only after you get into the situation and get hit. And then you are many a time, many other people wouldn't tell you all these things simply because they are too embarrassed to admit. Right? I'm not embarrassed to admit that when I first came here, I was drawing a salary of $1,800 a month. When I was on H1 visa, I used to have sleepless nights towards the 11th year, 10th year of my H1 visa. I always felt like somehow just running away from all this and going back to India. And when my green card came, it was a major milestone. And then I could not bring myself to go back to India. As I and my wife discussed and all those things, we'll talk about those details definitely. But L1 visa, so many people don't want to tell you all these things, what they went through simply because they are too embarrassed to admit. And many times, they wanted to go through the same hoops. Sometimes, they are crooked. They have a crooked mentality. And this is, again, all these things, people are having a crooked mentality will be discussed in my Dunyadari Ki Kitab series. And I'll be telling you all those things as part of my Dunyadari Ki Kitab. Because if you don't have this Dunyadari Ki Kitab knowledge, you will basically lose all the wealth that you will accumulate. One day someone will come and just steal everything from you. It's a very common thing. People just steal so easily. And that's the reason many people in India, especially in India, stay in the middle class zone. They really never go to upper middle class, which is very easy in India. So we'll talk about that, how you can excel in India and how you can excel in America and basically live in America, middle plus, or maybe if possible upper middle class, but in India definitely upper middle class. So we'll talk more about these things, but today I'm going to be just talking about L1 visa. L1 visa. In my opinion, L1 visa should be renamed as slave visa. Have you guys ever heard of this? When someone comes and says, I'm going to America and I'm going to be there on L1, you should know that he's pretty much going there as a slave. If you look at the terms of the visa, L1A as well as L1B, both. L1A is for managerial people, intra-company transfer. L1B is for, again, intra-company transfer for specialized knowledge people. So typically for both these kinds, you need people, the person who's going, the candidate has to be having 7, 8, 9, 10 years of experience, a lot of experience, not fresher or 2-3 years experience won't work. Anyway, that's beside the point. You can look at all these L1 terms online. These things are easy. They won't come back and hit you. When you want to get factual information about something, just Google and you'll find it. And that's not what I'm here about. I am about telling you those aspects of any situation which nobody tells you. And I'm going to be doing certain analysis which nobody does for you. Remember I told you that analysis about Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli. I told you the analysis about Amir Khan. I actually took the name of Amir Khan a lot in that discussion. Nobody's going to tell you all this. Nobody's going to do these comparisons. Many people just don't even know. Some of these things are my own inventions and nobody does know these things. In some cases, people know certain things, but they don't tell you. L1 visa is one such example where people don't tell you anything because they are in that situation. Once they are over that situation, they still don't tell you. But here is how L1 visa works. In L1 visa, see, you are not allowed to change your company. Again, if you Google, you will find this. You would know that. This is one of the things that you would come across. On L1 visa, you can only work for that employer. But what it boils down to as it comes to American way of life, this pretty much means you are a slave of that company. they would never increase your salary. They will increase your salary with 3%, 4%, 5%, whereas the market rate could be 250K or 275K, whereas you could be working for just 110K or maybe 100K. They would have you for peanuts. They would have you for peanuts. L1 visa is a slave visa. Terms are like this. Very simple term is government has created this. Government, and American government, USCIS has created this plan for you, for employers, that they can get the slaves from India and then keep them here. L1 visa there is no doubt about this, it's a slave visa, because the person cannot work for anybody else. You know, in medieval times, this is what used to happen. They would get people from all over the world, and then they would not be allowed to leave them. So L1 visa is like that. It's bonded labor. That's the name. That should be the name for it. Slave visa or bonded labor visa. Bonded labor visa. Why else it should be called something else? When the person is a bonded labor, then why should it be called something else? I have seen many people on L1 complain about very basic things. You know, hey, I'm not able to save any money. Hey, I'm not able to do this. Hey, because you're paid less. You're in 110K is less than the $15 an hour on welfare. People who are on FPL, federal poverty limit of 35K, are basically enjoying much more money, much more fulfilling life, much more money than you ever would. So yes, you're below them. So that's why you would be having a very tough life. I have seen many people on L1 complain about various costs here. Yes, it's understandable. In India, if someone is making 20,000 rupees a month, do you think he can live a good life? Do you think he can live a good life? If a person is making maybe 50,000 rupees a month and he has to pay house payments, or maybe he has to pay a rent, then do you think he can live a great life? Can he even afford a good AC? Can he afford a good car? No, he pretty much would be high on hand to mouth, from hand to mouth. Same thing. You need at least lakh rupees income. And L1 visa people get very low salary because of this precise reason, because employers know they're not going to go anywhere. They are a bonded labor, so they can pay them as much as they want. L1 visa people are always getting at least 50% less than the market rate, at least. Apart from that, similarly, H1 visa, a lot of people come on H1 visa, right? H1 visa is also pseudo-slave visa. How is it different? See, let's say in India, so in America, basically what happens is, when someone hires an H1B visa, let's say Amazon or Apple or Cisco or Google or Netflix or anybody, minimum, even a consultancy firm has to pay $2,200 in the INS fee, USCIS fee. That's minimum. That is something that everybody has to pay. Typically, a desi consultancy would be paying around $1,000 to $2,000 to the lawyer to get the visa filed. Sometimes they save this money by filing on their own. Again, time is of money too. Then they have to make more money also. They're taking bigger risk also. Many times they still have to engage an attorney because the complications may arise. But anyway, beside the point, $2,200 is minimum. $1,500 to $2,000 is additional lawyer cost. But if Amazon hires you, how much do they have to pay to the attorney? How much do they have to spend in total? Around $20,000. Think about this. If they hire a citizen or a green card holder, they don't have to spend anything. But if they hire you on H1, they have to spend $20,000. By the way, what would you prefer? I'm asking you. Let's say to hire this guy, you have to give him a salary of 1 lakh rupees a month. Okay, or 12 lakhs rupees. But to hire the other guy, you have to pay 12 lakh rupees salary as well as 30,000 rupees in cost of hiring them. 3 lakh rupees as cost of hiring them. Right? 20,000 is approximately 5 times lesser than 100,000. Right? I just came out with a number. Who would the companies prefer? Do the maths. Companies would prefer the person who comes for free. H1 people are not free to them. So many companies don't want to give the job to H1 people also. H1 is also a pseudo-slave visa. I was living like a slave. I used to feel this every day. I'm not going to hide this. It's a fact. L1 visa, all terms are similar to akin to slave visa. H1 visa seems like you're free to go anywhere, but wherever you would go, they would reject you because they don't want to hire you because of the face. So you see how these visas work? H1 visa and L1 visa. How do these work? Yeah. So now let's do some little comparison. In the case of L1, there is a good thing. We should know. I'm going to tell you a couple of other points which I don't know, maybe you know, maybe you don't know. On L1 visa, your wife can work. I think this is very common knowledge I've seen among this. So this may not be a new point. I'm just I want to ensure that you guys know it as part of this video itself. L1 visa, your spouse can work. On H1 visa also, your spouse can work. Once the green card is filed and your I-140 gets approved, you can apply for a H4 EAD. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years, by the way, if you start now. If you start the green card process now. That's on H1. On L1, about 3 to 4 months, your wife can start working, which is not a bad thing. That's a blessing. And then second thing is, on L1, your green card comes a little sooner. Well, actually quite sooner, 4 or 5 years in some cases. L1A, especially managerial candidates. I'm not sure what L1B, but for L1A, yes, it comes much sooner. On H1, you know that may not come for 15, 20 years. You know all that, right? You know all that, right? If you don't know all these things, then you should really brush up, because I'm not here to tell you the common knowledge. It's the common knowledge. I'm here to tell you some special points. So if you still think you did not know, like on H1, if you are here and you want to get the green card, it will take around 15, 20 years. And don't undermine green card. Many people in India don't know the importance of green card. Green card means, for people who have gone through the suffering of H1 visa, they know that it is God. It is God. जैसे भगवान मिल जाते हैं वैसे है. It's like you got God. Citizenship is same thing. You don't get extra hilarious. It doesn't get really extra beneficial when you get citizenship. It's just that that little uncertainty, whatever is there in traveling, that is also gone. Now you're a citizen. But when you get green card, trust me, it will just give you that peace of mind that you would not be able to come out of it. Very important, I'm telling you again and again, many people in India and in South Asia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, by the way, all these things that I talk about are for everybody. It's all NRI, I call it NRI, but there is no doubt it's for NRI and people who have come from other countries like South Asians, and so especially are here. And when I talk about Indian techies, that's also about Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankans, Nepalis, everybody, Burmese, everybody. I'm not even covering all the countries, Bhutanese, everybody, and maybe other countries like Tajikistan, etc. Without green card, you cannot live here. The life is horrible. I'll talk about the turmoils of H1. And L1 I already said. L1 I already told you. I'm just telling you, it's a slave visa. L1 is a slave visa. There is no doubt about this. You want to come here as a slave and live here. Many companies put a condition that they will file your visa after 4 or 5 months, after 4 or 5 years of working for them. Here you have 4 or 5 years and plus 3, 4 years. Here 9, 10 years. You'll get the green card after 9, 10 years. You may think, at least I have a job. I have a 1 crore job. But during that time, you will be making less money than the FPL welfare people. You watch my videos, welfare people videos, then you would know how much money are you really making in comparison to the lifestyle, in comparison to the people, in comparison to what you should be making, and then you would know exactly where you stand. 125k salary is what? Nothing here. I told you can look at my welfare videos and you would know. So both these visas, you don't want to be on visa, you want to get on green card as soon as possible. So this is very important thing. Thank you very much for watching L1 visa and H1 visa overview. In America, L1 visa is a slave visa episode. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for listening. I really and please do like, subscribe, comment and share. Definitely comment. Let me know that you like it, you feel this is something important, and if you have some other view, I really want to know anomalies to my rules. That will be really very helpful. Thank you.